Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Power of Knowing Forum's Regenesis Talks today, LinkedIn Live Event 158. Today we are discussing on the topic of success versus war, mergers and acquisition, the Regenesis way. To have this discussed, we have the honor of having Thomas, Rajiv, and Sunil. We'll be talking on this topic. Without further ado, bringing our esteemed speakers to the podcast event. Hi, Thomas, Rajiv, Sunil. Welcome to the
Hi,
podcast. Over to you,
thank
Thomas.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prem.
Prem.
Thank you, Prem. Welcome, everyone, to today's LinkedIn Live discussion, which is success versus war. And it's about mergers and acquisitions, but doing it the Regenesis way. And we're thrilled to have business owners, managers, executives, and directors with us today as we dive into a topic that could very well define the future of your organization with respect to mergers and acquisitions. So let me ask you, when you think about a merger or acquisition, do you envisage explosive growth or a risky gamble? Well, today we're going to uncover how your strategic moves can either be your path to unprecedented success or your toughest battle yet. But when done the Regenesis way, as we'll attempt to show you today, you can avoid having those battles or any unnecessary decline at all. By the end of this session, you'll not only have choice about how to navigate mergers and acquisitions smoothly, but also discover a game-changing method that can transform your approach. So you can fold in an extra 1 to 2% extra recurring revenue per month at the time of merger and acquisition to your business. This could mean 12 to 24% more a year on top of whatever the merger or acquisition was going to bring. And it helps the whole thing be more stable and sustainable. And over a decade, as we've discussed before, the kind of difference this makes is 120 to 240% on top of whatever the M&A would achieve anyway. So unlocking the quiet extra numbers that can change the trajectory of your entire career and organization is where we're going today. And to start us off, I'm going to ask Rajiv to do that and introduce the Regenesis advantage. Rajiv.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. As you know that before we jump into the details, what we should talk about, one thing that has to transform M&A process for managers, executives, and directors and organizations, and that is Regenesis. As you know that we have a whole set of tools which are available at your advantage, and it's not just another management tool. It is the simplest, fastest, and actually acting and most impactful management renewal process that can be used to transform challenging M&A scenarios. Because when you do M&A, there are a lot of challenge which are going to pop up, and maybe they can catch you off guard. But if you are using Regenesis, then we can use those scenarios and turn those scenarios into opportunities for even more growth and profitability. And that is where we specialize in, and that is what we are going to talk about today. So think of Regenesis as a strategic renewal tool that helps you rebirth your organization as you integrate your M&A. Because when you are actually doing M&A, you are actually assimilating two cultures of different organizations together. And each organization, they have their own ways of functioning. They have their own policies and processes. So using Regenesis as a tool, we actually help you integrate both the things in a very systematic way. And let me tell you, I have been involved with lots of mergers and acquisitions where we had the chance of understanding that what kind of challenges which can pop up. So using Regenesis, you can actually handle all those challenges in a very smooth manner. And, you know, you can fill in the hidden gaps which are affecting the performance. Is extra 1 to 2% recurring revenue, no matter how big or small your organization is today. And that, of course, leads to lots of cumulative effect as we talk every month, every week with you. Here's the kicker: if you don't use Regenesis, you will miss out on this opportunity to install a uh, that growth every month. Just imagine that you could be with that extra sustainable 12 to 24% per year uh, following your M&A. That can actually transform your business into a strong engine where growth will be a norm, and that is how your M&A story can be much more successful using our tool. So over to you, Thomas.
Great, thank you, Rajiv. Thank you for saying all of that. I think that's really important information before we dive in. And now, of course, we need to take a bit of a deep dive as to what we mean. You probably know what you mean, but what we mean by the separation between mergers and acquisitions as we see it. And to do this, I'm going to ask Prem to kind of break down the two strategies as he sees them.
Thank you, Thomas. See, I think you are taking a very important step where we look at how do we look at deep dive into mergers and acquisition. Today, let's get into the heart of the session and the difference what we see between merger and acquisition and how approach each one with a precision. So when we speak about merger, what is that we're talking about? It is more of getting into a partnership between two companies, and we look at coming together as equals for something bigger. The merger's objective is predominantly to look at an opportunity for synergy where strengths can be taken and we bring that into a stronger entity, because when we look at a potential uh, advantage of having a merger, it becomes more to embrace the new things or the technology or in terms of the business needs that is there with the existing company, but put that here as a challenge without any alignment. So it's like two people coming together and stepping into each other's stores, like we get into a dance and we see how people can look at these mergers. Looking at, on the other hand, an acquisition is like taking over something where one company absorbs the other by gaining its assets. So one could be the assets that these company can bring up when we take over, and the share that we take in the market and the customers. This can be incredibly powerful for our growth, because if acquisition can fuel your business to the next level, it makes a lot of difference. But only if you don't end up overpaying the mishandling the integration, which is very crucial for us to look at when we take over, right? So it can feel like hostile part. So when we should pursue the each strategy, it comes down to the alignment of the vision and the timing. So it is more to look at how the timing of that merger is taken care, and mergers are right when you can achieve more together than alone. So the point that we look at mergers in specific is look getting more alignment to the business, getting more to understand each other's strengths and build upon and make a stronger organization. And acquisitions make sense when the need of scale is fast and access of new capabilities is required for us to grow. It can be a tool, it can be a new line of business which can add up to the existing one. So those kind of stages where starting would be a new initiative and it will take time, and acquisition would help in making us things faster. So it is better to have both together, but deep diving into mergers and acquisitions, this is what is the take that I have. Thomas, over to you.
Thank you, Prem. I think it's really important to understand that subtle distinction. which is joining together two equals as opposed to one acquiring another to make itself stronger. Either way, you end up in a common agenda, which is to help two lots of people at least work together harmoniously as equals. And what I'd like to do now is to draw in Sunil to this process and to talk about the Regenesis way, the steps to success in both mergers and acquisitions, how you achieve this pulling together. And there are a number of practical tips that I'd like Sunil to take us through. So, Sunil, can you step in here and help us with the process and practical tips, please?
Thanks, Thomas. Uh, as Thomas has rightly said, the Regenesis way. So when some customer, some directors, some leaders join hand with us with Regenesis, then they get one more advantage, because every leader or every organization has one target that they have to grow. So merger and acquisition is one important way, and I will say one of the important way to grow. And why it is important? Because when the organization get connected with us, we develop the system, we develop the process, and we develop within the organization a lot of growth opportunities. So if your system is there, if your human resources is aligned with your organizational objective, so everything is set. Now, if you have to grow, there are two things. Number one, if you develop your own product, you increase the length and breadth of the product. Or the second, you acquire those things. You acquire those organizations which can help you to improve your offering, either in length or in breadth. So the solution lies in merger and acquisition. Now there are steps, when we call that we have to acquire the company, or we have to merge with some organization, and to track that organization and merge in our organization. So there are certain steps need to follow. Otherwise, we have seen lot of example where company has done everything in very fast manner, and ultimately that has not worked well. So the real expertise lies there. That what are the different steps one has to take care, so that that process should go smoothly, and the real purpose of that merger and acquisition get verified, get obtained, get achieved. So I will say that the first important is to identification of the organization, the right fit. So if you have to merge with certain organization, you have to take certain organization and merge that organization with your organization. You should know that what that organization is, which organization will be the right fit for us. Similarly, if you have to acquire some organization, you have to know that which organization will be right fit for that. So when we talk the Regenesis way, and we mentor those organization or mentor those leaders, during the process we gather that information, and we guide them that these are the probable organization with whom you have to to whom organization you have to acquire. These are the organization you have to merge, you have to organization you have to buy, and you have to merge in your organization. So those framework we decide, those groundwork we do, and we guide them that this is the way you will increase your offering, you will increase the length and breadth of your offering. So that first important, I will say, that strategic alignment and identification of those organizations is very, very important, and we help them in doing that. And to be honest, this is not a joke, this is very, very important. You should not hire, you should not acquire any organization. You should know what exactly you have to acquire, which will help you in your growth journey. Because ultimately the whole purpose of merger and acquisition is to increase your length and breadth of offering. If you are having your customer at your customer point, existing customer's point, there are a lot of opportunities available. So how to offer those opportunities also without doing any much extra work? So that is very, very important. So at Regenesis, we do that groundwork for the customer, and we help them to identify those organizations,
and uh, take care of the process also. The second important is due diligence. Once you have identified those organization, you have to collect lot of information regarding that organization. As Prem has rightly said, when you are merging with some organization, you are basically marrying, so you have to ensure that what are the culture of that organization, how to take care so that the organization can merge in a smooth manner, and that whatever culture you have developed in your organization, that should smoothly go in that organization. Take the example of Tata. If Tata is acquiring some organization and merging those organization in Tata Group, Tata is having defined systems, defined processes, defined ethics system. So everything need to go and need to be followed in their new organization. So there is a way to do that. But before doing that, it is very, very important to understand the what the current situation of that organization. You should know a lot of financial information regarding that organization. You should know what are the liabilities of that organization. What is the customers feedback regarding those organizations. So those small things are very, very important, but it plays very, very important role to confirm that yes, it is the right fit. And at Regenesis, we help the organization in finding those due diligence. So that is the second part. The third important part, that is called negotiation. So once you have identified the organization, if you have got the report of due diligence and you find yes, it is the right fit, third important is the negotiation part, where we have to create a situation that should be win-win situation for both the organization, for your organization also and the other organization to whom you're acquiring. So if you're knowing well in advance that what are the liabilities, what are the customer set, so you are basically prepared for that, and you can negotiate in such a way so that you can create a win-win situation. So that negotiation part is very, very important. And with my experience, I have seen there are a lot of organization which has failed at the negotiation table. Everything has been done, and at the negotiation table, that negotiation has failed. Why? Because that groundwork has not happened. The understanding regarding the management has not happened. And to be honest, in this BG world, it is very difficult to do everything for one person. So the expert like Regenesis plays important role in that negotiation part. The fourth important is integration plan, unified integration plan. As I was giving the example of Tata Group, so every group is having their own ethics, their own system, their own processes. So if you are taking some organization, acquiring some organization, or you are purchasing some organization and merging in your organization, then that blueprint is very, very important, that what are the different steps that will happen. Because when you are acquiring or when you are buying the organization and merging in your organization, there will be lot of unseen things will also happen. There will be a lot of resistance among the employee also. There will be a lot of resistance from the unwanted source also. But how to tackle those unwanted resistance, that is very, very important. So once you are prepared for that, you have developed the blueprint for that, then every transition will happen in a smooth way. And believe me, this transition is very, very important, because the whole purpose will get achieved only if this transition happened in a very beautiful way, in a smooth way. If this transition is not happening in a smooth way, it is very difficult to get those objectives for which this whole exercise has happened. So here, in nutshell, what I want to say, that Regenesis plays very, very important role, and we are having expertise for that, and we know that what are the parameters we have to decide. We are having set framework for that, and we guide our organization when they decide that okay, we have to go in this way. So I think that's all from my side. Thomas, over to you.
Thank you, Sunil. I think it's a really great map of the territory that needs to be negotiated in those four phases. Obviously checking the strategic alignment, then of course doing your due diligence, then of course negotiation. And as you say, a good deal is never just about price. It's about so much more. And then finally, to plan after the event of the integration, the unit kind of once the two organizations come together, you've got to then think how you're going to put it together as one. So that's so helpful. Thank you so much for all of that. And I guess what I want to just talk about briefly now is securing that long-term success. Whether it's a merger or acquisition, the real work starts after the deal. And this is where Regenesis makes the real difference. It gives you that clear blueprint to ensure that smooth transition and integration. So, post merger, Regenesis focuses on things like cultural integration. And it could be you can't have one culture or the other. You actually have to give birth to a new culture that's brand new to the merged organization. It could be you can't have one organization's operations dominate the other. It could be you have to form a new operational synergy, something that's born out of the two organizations. And the same with management and leadership. The last thing you want is for one set of important employees or managers or leaders to feel taken over or the underdogs to others. None of that helps a new organization entity thrive without internal conflict. So the Regenesis process looks at how you get all of that done and get those things properly integrated. And there are 12 domains that we help you look at, which is the, if you like, the blueprint that ensures you don't miss anything major. Now, post acquisition, it's also about retaining key talent because if people feel taken over and done to, the tendency is to leave for pastures green. They don't like it. They don't like being done to and taken over. And similarly, customers may not like the process if they feel one organization is not honoring of perhaps the taken over element that they valued and revered. If they feel that they're not getting a fair place in the arrangement, then customers may feel offended and say, oh, well, if you don't like the organization I've grown to love and know, then I don't want to be with you. I'm going to go somewhere new. And you don't want any of that because you want to keep all customers from both parts of the acquisition. So I'm creating, again, that seamless integration plan. And Regenesis ensures that you're not just acquiring assets, but as all of my colleagues have said, building a stronger organization for the future. That is what it's all about. The tendency with both mergers and acquisitions is to do it because the price is right or because it makes a difference to the numbers in the short term. But if you don't attend to the things we've talked about today, then it might give you good year one or even year two figures that look improved. But in the longer term, it almost always comes to the detriment of the organization, which in some unexpected way begins to pay a price for the merger or the acquisition that they didn't expect. So this stuff is really, really important. And when the steps are done right, you unlock the full potential of your new entity. But ignore them and you risk costly battles that drain resources, morale, and ultimately drain your profits and income. So, Rajiv, do you want to take us on from here as to the kind of action that people might be thinking about from here on?
Thank you, Thomas. As you know, that mergers and acquisitions are not small transactions. They are not very, they are very risky transactions. They are very high value transactions. So in these events, as Sunil and Thomas both told you, a lot of strategic alignment, the diligence and compliance aspects, your evaluation and negotiation part of it, your integration plan, whether it is working perfectly or not, and also the plan to actually move in a very systematic way is very, very important. And not only the planning and the post execution of the merger is more critical because that leads to a lot of management tools and leadership tools are required for that. And that is where we at Regenesis will come in. Without right guidance, no merger and acquisition can be successful. So it's risky, stressful, and incredibly expensive transaction. So you shouldn't take chance with your mergers and acquisition. You should be in the right hands with the right set of people who are having expertise in this area and who can actually help you retain the talent, retain the post-merger hiccups, manage the post-merger hiccups, and also, you'll have tools and insights and strategies to systematically build your sustainable success, which will be well beyond the first year flush of numbers in your accounts, because it's not only about the numbers which are coming in. It's about managing the transactions effectively. It's about managing the whole, process in a very systematic way. And that is where we at Regenesis will come in, and we will make sure that the whole process is done in a very systematic and smooth manner. So do tune in to us for those strategies. Over to you, Thomas.
Thank you. And for me, in what you just said, Rajiv, there's one thing that really stood out, and I'd like to repeat it. And what I think you were saying was, let's be clear, without the right guidance, mergers and acquisitions can be really risky, stressful, and incredibly expensive. I've seen so many go the wrong way. And this is, well, we believe we can really help you get this right. So, thank you for listening to us today and joining us today. So you know what to do if you've been in any of our previous LinkedIn lives. Talk to any of us on LinkedIn uh, about your mergers and acquisitions, your plans. We always talk it through with you to make sure that we're a good fit and that we can really help in your situation. So we look forward to your call. We look forward to helping you. That's our raison d'etre, our reason for being there. It's just about taking the steps to achieve success with your M&As without the battles, or inadvertently setting yourselves up for a slow decline in the long term. Sometimes these things are done with the best intent. It seems wonderful, shiny new merger and acquisitions, but so often they don't quite pan out in the longer frame over the 2, 3, 4, 5 year frame. Things start to go wildly out of kilter, and the roots are in the things we talked about today. So remember, with Regenesis, we always talk about three things. One, mobilize your people. Two, maximize your flow. And three, catalyze available growth. Never is this more important than it is at, during, and after a merger or acquisition. So we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you for listening. Prem and Sunil, do you want to add anything before we close?
Yeah,
Sorry,
Thomas.
Sunil?
Yeah. Sunil, you would like to add? Or will go concluding.
I think Rajiv has and Thomas has already given the detail. I will only say that this is very, very important milestone for any organization. So risk is also involved, as they have explained. So put yourself in the right hand, and when we do it, there is a defined framework, and we take care of everything. Over to you, Prem.
As rightly what Sunil said, what we discussed was more about how the merger and acquisitions are being. A merger is like a partnership, and an acquisition is like more a takeover. It is really a good way that we have a guided mentorship on understanding how mergers and acquisitions can happen, and we as a team are available for you for any of the guidance. Please do follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Hope this session was valuable for you, and thank you for joining us today. For our next session that we are having is on unicorn to ghost startup opportunities to build it right with Regenesis, which is going to happen next Wednesday, same time at 6:30 p.m. IST. Our episode for the next day tomorrow is that we are having our 159th episode, cultural architects design work environment to attract top talent, tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Looking forward to see you all again. Thank you for being here. Have a good day and bye for now.
Thank you, Prem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you, Brent.
you. Thanks, everyone.